Aiman, you have been involved in many sukuk structuring from day one, and also vetting through the legal documentation of sukuk on the other side of the coin. What are the most challenging issues that you have faced in terms of structuring new sukuk, working closely with the sukuk issuer from day one? Perhaps you can share with the audience so that we can learn and we can try to cut short the journey.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for having me. And just for the record, these are the Sharia minds. I'm just supporting the Sharia minds from a legal point of view. So, I mean, the question is a challenging question by itself, because structuring sukuk depends on the asset, depends on the jurisdiction, depends on the legal system that governs that asset. From my own experience, one maybe counterintuitive thing is that many of the most innovative sukuk that we worked on, and not necessarily sukuk, structured notes, and you know, I know most people link sukuk to bonds and Islamic bonds, although in our minds it's more of an asset-backed security or a participation note. So when I say sukuk, I'm including everything, not just fixed income instruments. But in most cases, at least in as far as I'm concerned, some of the non-Islamic and foreign asset managers, fund managers, issuers have driven that process. Driven that process in the sense that they had an asset, they saw the opportunity to raise money from a region like ours. Some of those asset managers and issuers came to the region with no plan, walked into meetings, and were told in the meeting, okay, that sounds interesting, but make it Islamic. Some of them are better prepared, or were better prepared, would walk in at least with some understanding of what the ingredients are. To me, the issue is we have to start with understanding the asset, because there's a binary question on day one. Is this something that is Sharia compliant from an activity substance point of view or not? If it's not, then there's nothing that can be done around it. I mean, we're looking at the list of activities that are compliant or non-compliant, and even if we expand the list to look at some socially responsible items, child labor, environmental, hazards, what have you, even if it's not directly in the list of 6, 7 items that are prohibited, we know that this is not an industry that's going to accommodate this. But once we get over that first hurdle, that the asset itself is Islamic or can be made Islamic, or to be more accurate, the asset itself is not, does not contradict with Sharia principles, then the work starts. And I've had a number of discussions with Dr. Muhammad Al-Garri here in my early days when I got involved in Islamic finance. And I would get excited and start proposing an Islamic structure, and he would ask me to go take a step back and say, okay, describe the economics of the conventional product first, because we need to understand those, what the end result is, what the economics are, and then we can work on the actual Islamic product. That will be a second step. So the first challenge is understanding the asset, and we have an issue here in the region and in the broader Islamic market, which is what I call a human resource deficit, because from a banker's, lawyers, sometimes even Sharia scholars' point of view, do we have enough people who are experienced in certain asset classes that are new and that are evolving all the time? Technology companies, venture capital, all these structured products that are coming up all the time. So there is some educational challenge that we need to overcome. Secondly, we need to understand the legal system governing that asset. It's not enough to say that this is a fatwa that means the product is Sharia compliant. Is it enforceable and valid, or valid and enforceable in the jurisdiction where you're looking to take security or have a true transfer of ownership, or any of those ingredients? And that's also a process that needs to be done in addition to the Sharia process, because you need to know that your product has to be of the same quality. And to be of the same quality, it doesn't mean that you just have a Sharia, a fatwa only, but you need to have as comparative of a product as a conventional product is, because you can't put an Islamic investors in a totally different sort of or subprime category. And then we have issues relating, for example, to, Dr. Muhammad just talked about, if you don't have the asset base. We still have options available to us. I mean, some products are based on a true sale of the asset. And we have not made as much progress, simply because in civil law jurisdictions we have some limitations. In common law jurisdictions we may be able to get around it. In the DIFC we can apply a true sale of an asset, but how enforceable is it or recognizable outside the DIFC as a financial center? Then we have secured financing, if we can take a true sale. And again, we have to look at how enforceable are those security instruments. I know some banks are willing to take risks, and they say, so long as I have a checklist, even if the legal opinions are qualified, we're happy with that. And then we have future assets where you are securitizing a future income stream. But to me, the bottom line is, if the asset, if you make the determination with the help of, or the Sharia scholars who have to be involved in day one, that asset class is Sharia compliant, there's nothing in it that raises red flags, then chances are there's a way to structure a sukuk around it.
Okay, a very positive comment by Ayman. Challenging, but it is not impossible to make sukuk, be structured and compliant and enforceable in the court of the law.